What is going on, guys? It is Daniel Wright, and you are here listening to another episode of Paving the Way. And as always, I'm so glad you tuned in. I think we're sitting here around like 123 episodes or so. And the fact that I know you've listened to every single one of those just makes my heart so nice and warm. Which leads me into my conversation today that we're going to talk about. And that is the fact that no one's going to come and save you from the challenges that you're facing in your life right now. So what does that have to do with your heart feeling nice and warm about people following you? Well, this conversation that we're going to have today is probably not going to be super nice and warm. It stems off of some conversations I've had recently, specifically last week. I had two different, specifically like contractor asphalt groups I'm a part of, Blacktop Banner, as well as Top Contractor School. Just kind of talked about some different things about where people are at with their goals, what they're trying to do with their businesses. And on both of those different calls, I had some feedback to offer to the individuals that I thought resonated well. And so I wanted to share it with you guys today. So with that being said, let's get started. All right, guys. All right. Welcome back. Hey, I want to real quick give a shout out to a Mr. Michael Hester. Kate, who works in our office doing administrative work with us. She told me that you listen to this pretty regularly. So I just want to give you a shout out. I appreciate you tuning in. Feel free to drop a comment in here. Let us know you're listening. I'm trying to get Kate on here with us, but I tried making a deal if we got so many comments or shares that we'd get her on the podcast, but we're still working on that negotiation. So Michael, I appreciate you, man. It does mean a lot that this message is getting out there and guys like you are listening to it. So with that being said, guys, let's get into the meat and potatoes. All right. So here's the situation. We're sitting in, into August 2024 right now. A lot of folks that are listening to this are probably in some sort of the contracting construction space in one way or another. And, quarter three is, a third of the way done. So quarter three for a lot of folks in our industry, at least, kind of gets pretty busy towards the end of it. And then beginning of quarter four, things are really getting busy because folks are trying to get things done before the end of the calendar year, so on and so forth. So there's been conversations that come up about, goals and where you're at in relation to where your goals were set, what you're doing to achieve them. What's your challenges right now, what things are you having to overcome, so on and so forth. And one of the things that kind of, kept coming up in one of the conversations I was having was just different aspects of, just finances in a company, right? So whether it's cash flow, whether it's margins, whether it's revenue, whatever it is, just finances in a company. And as I was sitting there on this call with some fantastic entrepreneurs, leaders, sales professionals from all across the country, a lot of the complaints, a lot of the frustrations, the challenges that people were talking about were very similar, right? And all these folks are in different industries, like I said, across the country at different stages in business. Some are, starting out early on, some are well-established, $30, $40 million a year organizations. And it just got me thinking and got me fired up. They said, you know what? These challenges that everybody on this screen, on this call right now is facing are not unique to any of them, right? They're not unique to any of us. So the challenges you're facing right now, I hate to break it to you, aren't special to you. More than likely, you're not the only person who's ever faced these challenges, who's going through these challenges, or who is going to go through these challenges. However, you are the only person who can do something about the challenges, right? So that's what kind of goes back to the title of today's show, is that no one's coming to save you. You have to put in the work to overcome these challenges. And the only way to overcome the challenges is by taking massive action. So in the situation of, the finances, challenges for some companies this year, it got me thinking, it got me talking about, guys, at the end of the day, we all know what to do. Right? We're in this position because we knew what to do to get here. Now, granted, what we did to get here isn't going to be the same as what we have to do to get there. And that's a given. We all know that. Leveling up requires new skills, new outlooks, new perspectives, new abilities, and new willingness to take on new challenges. So you have to make sure that you're willing to take those on and take action on those new challenges that come along. But most importantly, what I wanted to make sure everyone knew is we're not the only ones having these conversations, right? So just because we're on this call right now, we're the ones sitting here actually chatting with each other about these from all across the country, and in fact, all across North America for that matter. We're not the only ones. So what does that mean? Your competitors are also having these same challenges, right? This isn't just, like I said, it's not a problem unique to you. It's a widespread issue here. So what happens if your competitors are facing some of the same issues that you're facing? Well, you both are in this, this crap together, right? You're both trying to figure this out. However, the person who takes the biggest action the fastest is going to come out ahead. So that means that you have to strategically, figure out where you need to go, what the big problem is that you're trying to overcome, what steps you need to take to overcome it, and then just put that shit into action and make it happen. Because if you're sitting here talking about it, your competitor's sitting here talking about it, and you take the action first, well, where's that going to put you? Like I just said, you're going to be ahead of where they're at. So one of the biggest things that hangs up a lot of entrepreneurs is paralysis analysis, right? You are constantly trying to get in the weeds of thinking about this and that, so on and so forth. And what's the best way to do this? What's the best way to do that? I was asked today, about like when it comes to taking risks in business and what actually, how do you determine on whether or not a risk is worth taking or not? And I said, it's pretty simple. I try to sit and analyze what is the worst case scenario if I take this risk. If it goes completely sideways, blows it out of the water, and just bombs, if I take this risk, what's the worst case scenario that happens? And if that were to happen, am I okay with it? Is it catastrophic? Is it going to change the course of history? Is it going to, end lives or anything crazy like that? And if the answer is no, nothing catastrophic is going to happen, and yes, I'm okay with the worst case scenario, it's not what I'm going for, but I'm okay with it, then chances are I'm probably going to go ahead and take the risk. So if you're facing problems right now and you can sit and, efficiently go through a process to analyze, like I said, what the problem is, what needs to be done to fix it, and how quickly you can get on top of it, and you're okay with if it goes sideways, well, we can still keep moving, then you need to get to work because no one else is going to do it for you, right? And so the other conversation I had to kind of transition into the other discussion I was having that got me thinking about this topic today is a young man who's just starting out his business. He's new to the industry, new to his business. It's still a part-time job for him in the pavement industry. And he was really focused on wanting to grow his company. Totally admirable. I completely respect it. I completely agree with it. I've been there, done that. I'm doing it. I get it. But it's a part-time job for him. I asked him, I said, well, how many jobs are you do in a week roughly? And he said about one a week. And I didn't get into all the details, but my assumptions are going to tell me that's about one day a week, one job, maybe a Saturday, an evening, something like that. And he was talking a lot about, I think I need to hire a salesperson, someone to go knock on doors and, try and get in with new people and so on and so forth. And I don't know what it was, guys, but he got a lot more than he bargained for on that call that night. And I'd never met this young man before. So if you're listening to this, bud, I apologize. And, not really though, because it was a great conversation we had. But nonetheless, guys, if you're starting out in those early stages and you're having to just figure this out, I can promise you that you don't need to go start hiring salespeople right off the bat when you're doing one job a week. It's not what you need to do. In fact, I told this young man, I said, this is the time in your life. He was 22 years old, has a girlfriend, no kids, no family, no anything like that. I said, this is the time in your life where you grind your face off. Now, the caveat to this, guys, is you guys know that I am not somebody who sits and wants to wear, have a badge of honor for all the hours I work and the time I put in, because nobody actually gives a shit, right? Because everybody has it hard. Like I said earlier, that's not my problem. It's just a problem that other people have to deal with too, putting in the hours, putting in the efforts. But I told this young man, I said, these are the days that you grind your face off, that you are the salesperson, you are your marketer, you are your operator, you are your accountant, you are your collections agency, you are your CFO, you are everything to your business right now. So unless you're literally just trying to grow this organization as something that you're going to own and outsource everything, and you have an abundance of capital to invest in it, you need to put in the effort. You need to put in the work. You need to be putting in the hours. I explained to him that for about a year or so, I was working an average of about 100 hours a week, which, believe it or not, as a fireman, that's a pretty common thing. There was a lot of other firemen I worked with that were in the exact same boat, that was working 80, 90, 100-hour weeks to put food on the table for their families, to give them some of the luxuries that their kids, that they didn't have as kids and they wanted to give to their kids. And that's just part of it. I was fortunate to be surrounded by a bunch of individuals that were willing to grind at what it is that they wanted to work for and they wanted to achieve in their life. And so that taught me, that opened up, said, you know what? I'm capable of a whole lot more than I thought. Because I used to think, 40, 45 hours, I'm working a lot. That's a full-time job, But no, I had no idea what I was capable of until I actually had to do it, until I had no choice but to be capable of those things. And so I told him, I said, this is when you grind your face off. And I said, at the end of the day, when you grow your company and you have people working within it, you have an operations team, a sales team, an admin team, whatever it grows to be for your liking. I said, the hard truth about all this is all the hours that you're going to put in now, all the efforts you're going to put in now, when you're grinding your face off and you're missing dates, you're late to dinner, you're missing, family events, you're missing the vacations you want to go on. All the people who are going to work at your company later don't actually care what you put in early. They don't care what you missed. They don't care what effort you had to put in. It doesn't matter to them because they have their own problems. They have their own struggles. They have their own challenges. However, what will matter is what effort you put in. The blood, sweat, and tears that you shed to get the company to where it's at today. How many hours you spent, how many nights away from home that you spent, how much, just mental and emotional energy that it took to be able to, to get it to where it's at. And so when you know that as the leader and you put in the work, you are able to then effectively lead more confidently because you're not feeling like a fraud. You're not feeling like an imposter. You're not feeling like somebody who says one thing and does another because you know that you've put in the work that it took to get you to where you're at. No one did it for you. No one came to save you. No one bailed you out. No one gave you the easy route. No one did any of that. You put in the work. And so if you find yourself having to lead teams, lead individuals where you're kind of a little hesitant on like, man, I know they need to do this, but I don't really feel good about telling this. I can almost guarantee that if you take an inventory on what you've been putting in to get where you're at, if you feel that way, that you don't feel good about it, there's probably a reason. And that reason is because you haven't actually done what it takes to be qualified to instruct that next person to do what you're asking them to do. Okay. So at the end of the day, guys, when we go through challenges, in our lives, the only way to get through them, the only way is to take action. You must find actions to take because otherwise you're literally sitting in the crap, hoping for it to just disappear. And I can promise you, as a person who has sat in the crap, who has decided to sit there and think it's all going to just, go away the longer I sit here, it doesn't actually work that way. Hate to break it to you. Because I learned that I'm the only person who's going to be able to actually, to make a difference in my life, to be able to make myself, move things forward. And all the people who are counting on me to open up those opportunities, to develop those opportunities and to create those pathways for them to achieve is like, I'm the only one who can do that. No one else can do it for me. So whatever situation you're in, whatever, position that you fill, whatever role that you play, you are fully responsible for your accomplishments, for getting through the crap, for getting through the challenging times, because no one else is going to do it for you. All right. So I believe that you have what it takes to do it. I've done it. I'm currently doing it. My friends are doing it. My peers are doing it. My competitors are doing it. Everybody else is doing it. So why don't you get on the bandwagon of making a difference in your own life that's going to positively impact the lives around you? Because you owe it to them. Whether it's the people who believe in you, the people who hate on you, or the people who don't even know you, you owe it to the rest of the world to be giving it everything you've got to move through these challenges day in and day out. No one's going to come save you. No one's going to bail you out. You have to do it. And I believe in you. People around you believe in you. So make it happen. I appreciate you guys. And I look forward to talking to you all.